Embarking on the journey of purchasing a car during your retirement is a decision that warrants careful consideration. The choice between acquiring a new, used, or leased vehicle can significantly impact your retirement experience. In this video, we will explore the optimal approaches to buying a car in retirement, considering various factors that influence this important decision. The data indicates significant repairs commonly begin at around 60 to 100,000 miles. Therefore, 75,000 miles marks a favorable juncture. This mileage is also convenient as it's evenly divisible by 7,500 and 15,000, which aligns with the typical driving distances covered by retirees and working individuals on their vehicles. We'll take the Toyota Camry XSE as our test case. In option 1, you can acquire the new car at a list price of $38,692. Toyota also extends a financing offer of 3.99% for 48 months. If you put down 10%, your monthly payment will be approximately $786.11. The rate being offered is quite fair compared to what some other auto manufacturers provide. Yet, it's essential to acknowledge that this decision hinges entirely on personal preferences. It's worth pointing out that if you do decide to go ahead with car financing, the interest expenses over the 48 months would amount to $29,000. The mileage you cover carries far more weight than the annual percentage rate. This factor might be the decisive element in whether you can keep driving your car for a shorter span of 5 years, a moderate period of 10 years, or an extended duration of 15 years, depending on how many miles you accumulate on the vehicle. Referring back to our conversion about the 75,000 mile threshold, let's consider this. If you follow the average driving pattern of 15,000 miles per year, once 5 years elapse, you'll find yourself at the point where a significant repair could be on your horizon. If you've entered retirement and maintain an average driving routine, your annual mileage costs can decrease from 15,000 to approximately 7,500 per year. This financial adjustment spans a decade before you encounter a significant repair on average. If you're open to covering some substantial repair expenses after reaching 75,000 miles, there's a possibility of extending your Toyota Camry's mileage by an additional 50,000 to even 75,000 miles, or potentially even more. Now that we possess the fundamental data and comprehend the correlation between mileage accumulated and the car's lifespan, let's delve into the concept of depreciation. We observe that the initial year of ownership for a Toyota Camry results in a depreciation of $5,642. This amount equates to 15% of the car's total value. Assuming a mileage of 15,000 in the first year, the depreciation rate amounts to 38 cents per mile. Moving to the second year, the situation normalizes somewhat. According to Edmunds, the depreciation for year 2 stands at $1,895, which translates to 13 cents per mile. Consequently, during the second 15,000 miles, the car experiences amortization at less than one-third of the rate observed during the initial 15,000 miles. This aligns with the notion that the car tends to lose a significant portion of its value upon leaving the dealership, particularly within the first year of ownership. While the drop might not reach the 20% mark, it typically falls within the 10 to 15% range, depending on the miles driven. In the case of year 3 for the Camry, the depreciation amounts to $1,792, equivalent to a depreciation rate of 12 cents per mile. As anticipated, the depreciation rate is slightly lower than year 2's. However, the intriguing shift occurs in year 4. The depreciation increases again to $2,201, representing a depreciation rate of 14 cents per mile. This likely occurs due to the influx of cars returning from leases, which are resold at a higher profit margin. This increase in resale value leads to a rise in depreciation rates. By the fifth year, specifically 1993, the depreciation cost is approximately 13 cents per mile. For instance, if you purchase a brand new Toyota Camry for $38,692 and drive it for around 75,000 miles over the 5 years, the vehicle's value would depreciate to approximately $25,000 by the end of this period. The total cost for your car during that time amounts to $13,424, which averages out to around $2,684 per year over the 5 years. Now, let's consider a scenario where you didn't purchase the car new but instead opted for a used one with 15,000 miles already driven. In this case, your purchase price is $33,050. The car's value at the end of the 5th year remains at $25,268. However, since you didn't acquire the car as a new purchase, you managed to avoid the substantial depreciation hit in the first year. As a result, if you choose to buy used after the first year, your actual expenditure over the 4 years comes to $7,782, averaging $1,945 per year. When you decide to purchase 1 year into ownership, you'll notice a reduction of $739 in your annual costs. Interestingly, when considering depreciation and whether you buy the item after 1, 2, or 3 years, the actual value you receive for your money remains relatively consistent. This is because the depreciation rate remains fairly stable from the 2nd year onwards, resulting in minimal changes in value over the subsequent years. It is still recommended that you consider purchasing the item when at least 1 or 2 years of the manufacturer's warranty are left. This precaution helps in case any unforeseen issues arise that weren't anticipated. Having warranty coverage can provide additional peace of mind for unexpected circumstances. Car values experience depreciation due to age and mileage, although period tends to have a more significant impact on the vehicle's financial worth than mileage. For instance, consider a Toyota Camry with 75,000 miles driven for 5 years. Its value would be around 65% of the original purchase price. It's important to note that these figures are retail estimates. If you were to trade in the car, the value would likely be lower. Here's a crucial observation. You probably know someone who owns a vehicle with considerable age but relatively low mileage. Car dealerships are eagerly competing to secure this vehicle. Why? Well, those in the loop, those who watch informative videos like this, have come to understand that they can acquire a car that might be advanced in its numerical age but boasts minimal miles on the odometer. Such vehicles have the potential to endure many more years on the road. As a result, buyers are drawn to the exceptional value proposition that these vehicles offer for their initial investment. Keep in mind that the car's longevity is often more tied to the mileage it accumulates rather than its years in service. Let's say you're a retiree who drives around 7,600 miles yearly and purchases a car with only 15,000 miles. Under these circumstances, that vehicle could easily remain reliable for 8 to 15 years without requiring significant repairs. However, here's the pivotal question. After owning a used car for 8 to 10 years and giving it some time on the road, would you be able to discern whether you purchased it brand new or pre-owned? In most cases, the answer would likely be no. This question holds significant weight because when you first acquire a new car, it's pristine, free of dings and wheel scratches. But that initial perfection fades quite rapidly, leaving you with a solid car that has only minor imperfections, ones that most individuals wouldn't even notice except for the owners themselves. Here's a valuable piece of advice. If you're considering purchasing a slightly used car, it's wise to have your chosen vehicle inspected by an independent mechanic you have confidence in, not the one affiliated with the dealership. Additionally, obtaining a Carfax report can provide crucial information about the car's history and potential issues. Continuing on car ownership, the final category to consider is leasing your vehicle. As illustrated by the earlier example with the Toyota Camry, the initial years of car ownership tend to be the most costly. In that instance, we observed a depreciation cost of $5,642, even though the monthly payments were lower. This might seem counterintuitive since the earlier years are typically considered the most expensive phase of car ownership. However, the key to understanding this lies in recalling the situation with the Toyota Camry. After 5 years, the Toyota Camry's value exceeded $25,000. However, when you opt for car leasing, you're essentially renting the vehicle vehicle without any residual value. Leasing involves returning the car after a typical period of 3 years and around 36,000 miles. The person who ultimately purchases the leased car buys it with significant equity, often ranging from 65% to 75%. This implies that the leasee or the person leasing the vehicle has likely overpaid to some extent. It's reasonable to assume that over the 3-year lease duration, the cumulative payments would surpass the difference between the original car price and the car's equity value at the time of returning it. As we conclude our exploration into the world of purchasing a car during retirement, it's evident that this decision encompasses a multitude of variables that can shape your experience in profound ways. The interplay between choosing new, used, or leased vehicles and their subsequent impact on your financial landscape and overall enjoyment of retirement cannot be overstated. In the end, whether you opt for the allure of a brand new vehicle, the practicality of a slightly used gem, or the flexibility of leasing, the best way to buy a car in retirement is one that aligns seamlessly with your aspirations and brings joy to your well-earned chapter of life. Thanks for watching. Until next time.